out there? Welcome back to our channel here. We have our little check-in that we do on Wednesdays that we're getting started doing. Hopefully, you guys have joining me this year. Uh, Hopefully, you're having a great start to your year as well. The thing is, 2025 is your year if you want it to be. It all starts right here. So the reason why I'm doing check-ins with you guys is because a new year, new goals. And a part of your new goal, if it's not already, should be to maintain being consistent about firearm use and handling and its safety and making sure you understand all the through and through ins and outs of it. So hopefully you guys will join me on that journey of becoming consistent. Because at the end of the day, if you are a firearm owner and you don't have the knowledge and skills, then you're looking at a really terrible situation when it comes down to being able to use it. So I want you guys to be equipped. So every week, I'm meeting you guys around 12 o'clock on Wednesdays for a little check-in like this. And if you don't already know, I'm Mrs. Trouble, and I'm here to help you with whatever you're looking for as far as firearms goes. So let's jump right into today's discussion. So today we're talking about everything you need to know to prepare yourself for a range session, for a range time. So when going to the range, obviously you need to prepare before actually going. And I'm going to show you exactly what things it's pretty useful and helpful for you to be able to do and be equipped with. So for starters, it's the mental preparation, right? Especially if you're a beginner, if you're not familiar with the range and how things go, you really have to prepare yourself mentally, right? Particularly if you go to a range during a time where it's a busy time. So let's start with picking a place and location. We'll go there, but picking a location and place that's going to be indoor or outdoor, regardless of whatever your preference is or what's in your area. You may determine that you like outdoor ranges because you don't have to worry about so much gunpowder. You know, the ventilation system is really great outdoors, right? But then you have some indoor ranges that also has great ventilation and good amenities. So it depends on what's in your area and what's comfortable for you. Then I would say thinking about that mental preparation, the fact that each range has its busiest times and it's not so busy times. So if you are a beginner shooter, it's probably better to go to the range during the hours where they're not as busy. You can probably call the range and talk to them ahead of time, and they'll probably have some general understanding of what days and times is a low traffic time for you, and that might be the best time to go if you are a beginner. I know in my area, Saturday and Sundays is crazy. So when it comes to Saturday and Sundays, I try to stick to the middle of the day for my students who are beginners, because we'll usually be really busy in the morning and then slow down in the afternoon and then really busy in the evening. And then on the weekdays, obviously during work hours is probably going to be the best hours because everybody's at work. So if you can make it to the range those hours, if you are a beginner or you just don't want the company of having others there, then that might be the best bet. Let's see. Someone said, "Where are you from?" Oh, how you doing? I'm actually from DC. So I'm here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area now. Hoping you guys be safe regardless of where you are. So thank you so much for joining. If you've not been here before, please go ahead and subscribe and check us out. We got a lot of content that's going to help you stay equipped with firearms. Okay, you're from India. Thank you so much for joining. Mike, let's see. I'm just going home. Okay. Okay, so when it comes to this channel, I'm just going to make sure you guys are staying on track here. Mental health preparation is really important because sometimes you can go to the range and you feel really overwhelmed. So it's one of those things where you want to make sure you plan out your time a little bit so you can have an idea of what you're going to do. So having a good idea about what your goal is when you're going there is going to be key. So you can go there and say, hey, I know I need to work on, my trigger control, or I need to work on my stance, or I need to work on my grip. And those are all things that you need to make sure that you're familiar with and making sure that you have an understanding of what your goals are. So you don't go there and just pick up the gun and just shoot. I mean, that's not helping really as much as you would think it is, unless you're like really focused. So really use this as a skill, as practice, as therapy even. It can be therapy to relieve yourself of a lot of the stress that may be in your life, to go ahead and pick up the gun and just shoot the firearm. Sure, if that's your goal, that's fine. So whatever your goal is, have that in your mind so you'll know what your plan is. Because generally the range gives you like an hour's time. And thanks so much, Mad Woman 23, for joining again. I love that you've joined, and I'm loving that you love the content. So I appreciate it. When it comes to that mental space, just go ahead and have that in the back of your mind that you're not going to be the only person there. I know what happens for lots of people is they're not familiar with what's happening around them as far as other people using guns. So I would definitely encourage you guys to check out a range that has range safety officers or RSOs, because they are going to watch your back. They're going to give those safety briefings to other people. They're going to keep an eye out on all the other shooters around you. And so with them continuously watching your back, that should help you feel a little bit more comfortable about being in that setting and focus on what it is you need to focus on to better yourself. So if you guys have questions, don't hesitate to put that in the chat box area either, because I'm really want to make sure I help you guys be familiar with the things that you need to know. So, oh, good question. So how much is your budget for to shoot per session? So that's a good question. Each range is going to be a little different, but just in general, your range lane fee is going to be somewhere around $30. Each range charges for you to use their facility. They usually give you an hour time. I have heard of some ranges doing 30 minutes, and the range time is less, obviously. Then, as far as the cost of the ammunition, if you have not brought your own ammunition with you, you can usually buy ammunition at the range. And just to give you a good rule of understanding of how much the ammo may cost, and this may vary as well depending on the caliber, but let's say you were shooting 9mm, you may expect to spend somewhere between $20 and $30 for a box of 50 rounds. And then when it comes to the eye and ear protection, if you don't already have your own eye and ear protection, then you may be looking at about like a $2 to $5 rental for each. Well, for the ear protection for rental and the eye protection for rental. Some ranges, and I'm pretty sure all of them actually do. Guys can, okay. So I call them squishies, but the ear protection that can go in your ear that scrunches down. So those are pretty reliable and comfortable for me. It's actually I prefer those because my ears are really tiny. So finding the ear protection that I really like can be difficult. So this one actually works really good for me because it can squish down to a personal position and place in your ear. But those are usually either given away at the range, or they may charge like $1 for you to get your own, obviously, and throw them away. When it comes to the targets. Now, this is where it gets a little bit, controversial. Some people like huge targets. Personally, I'm looking for something that's pretty medium, kind of small. Like this one here that I have is actually on a bigger side. This is probably the biggest I'm gonna go. So I'm not really a fan of having a target that's any bigger than that, because I want to focus in on my skill and have my students focus in on their skill and your accuracy. So when you have a huge target and you missed a little bit, really you're missing a lot more than what you think, because the target is huge, right? But if you get a smaller target, and I'm not saying you have to have a tiny one like this, but it could be like, like half of a torso type of length, okay? But I would focus on having like a medium sized target basically. And then the more you get better and better at it, obviously, yes, get smaller. I've actually had people to use a paper plate as their target. So, and that works perfectly fine. That's actually where I started out. One of my instructors actually uses that tactic, uses a paper plate. So it works just fine. When it comes to all of these items, the target at the range does normally cost somewhere between like $1 and $3, depending on which target you get. Now, it is also helpful, and this is just like a mental thought process here. If you're going to the range, target practice, right? You're going to the range for marksmanship. This is a sport, so you should treat it as such. So having a silhouette target may not be the best, especially for your mindset. you might be better off getting a target that does not have a silhouette. And so it keeps you in the mindset that this is a sport and you're training for marksmanship. So that also could be something else to think about on a mental note. And then also having those targets with multiple places to shoot. This one I use, like I said, for my students. And I like it because I have not just this focal point to shoot at, but here, here, and here. So I have 4 places that we can focus on shooting versus having to get like a whole new target, you know, things like that. So that's also something that could be useful. Now, when you're going into the range, what to expect going into there, you can expect to have the staff greet you and talk to you about, you know, what things you need and want. And a lot of times, if you're not familiar with going to the range, it could feel a little bit like they're grilling you or trying to size you up or trying to fill you out. And they probably are, because you have to keep in mind that safety is always first. So they're conditioned to check to make sure everybody is being safe. So those are one of those things that you kind of can expect, but just keep being you and show them by your actions that you know what you're doing and you're there to work and you're there to get, you know, your marksmanship practice. And eventually they'll back off a little bit. That's my hopes anyway. So let's see, Miss Edgehill, you said, so about $60 per hour. Yes. That's the general understanding about how much you'll spend going to the range on your own. And then, of course, if you are hiring an instructor to come with you, then you can expect the price to be a little more because the instructor is going to charge their whatever hourly fee it is. So thank you guys for visiting from India, too. I see lots of love from India. I appreciate it. So when it comes to going into the facility, you also need to be aware of what the rules are. Each range has their own set of rules. You'll have the same general rules, such as keep the firearm in a safe direction, keep your finger off the trigger, don't handle the firearm beyond the firing line, behind the firing line rather. So those are general rules that they may have, and also like no eating and drinking inside the facility or while shooting or anything like that. That also may be a general rule. But you may find some locations have very separate rules, such as no shooting from the holster, no shooting in a kneeling position. So those are different things that you're going to have to verify with each range as you go and visit different locations. So do be aware of their rules. So you don't go in there breaking rules because you're used to doing one thing at a particular place, but this location does not allow it. When it comes to the essential gear that you need, obviously we all know we need a firearm, right? YouTube doesn't let me handle a real firearm while being live, so I'm compliant with the rules. But we also know we need our firearm, right? So when it comes to that, you guys, let me see what someone's saying here. Okay, so for 2 hours at most. Okay, that's a good rule of thumb right there. And yes, Mike, you are exactly right. It is a lot of money. It adds up. This is not a cheap sport when it comes to shooting. So lots of times before, I always have to explain to students when I'm having them to come out and go to the range with me, I make sure they're aware of how much it costs. And then sometimes they're kind of like, oh, okay, give me a little time, give me another week or so, let me get another paycheck, because it does get quite expensive, but definitely better to have like a peace of mind. And so it is kind of worth it because you're going to have this equipment at home. You need to know how to use it. You know, it's no point of having it sit there and you're safe for 6 months to a year and you've not even touched it, because if there's an emergency that happens, you won't know how to respond to it. Not at least not as quickly as you would like. So you need to be familiar with it. So going to the range has to be a must. And I always tell my students that I would love if you go to the range twice a month, once a month. But ideally, you know, if you just can't make it, like at least don't let 3 months go by without you going to the range. So at least quarterly, you should be going. So let's see. Go back to the comments here. And yeah, Mike, you're right. You got to have the income for this. All right, so someone said they have a bigger caliber, 945, etc. But I just recently got 222 LR pistols from the range because, oh, yes, definitely that's a good investment. You're exactly right. So buying that 22 long rifle pistol, does help you get some good practice. The ammunition is so much cheaper than it is getting a 9mm and a 45. But hopefully you do still shoot a few rounds, even if it's only like 10 rounds of your 9mm, 10 rounds of your 45, while you're there training with that 22, because that recoil is a lot different. So you do still need to get some practice with that. But majority of it, definitely the 22 would help you keep familiarity about how to use it and whatnot. Okay. And man, woman, you're right. That's why people go in the backyard and shoot. You're definitely right, because it does it gets pricey. I mean, although ammunition is still going to be an expense, you can actually use some lower costing ammunition if you're shooting in your backyard. Though you could use steel ammunition, because if you're shooting in an indoor range, they typically have a rule of no steel ammunition there, because it does have sparks or causes sparks, which could ultimately cause the range to catch fire. So when you're going to the range on the indoor, they'll say no steel ammunition. But if you're going outside your backyard, steel ammunition is welcome, and it's cheaper in cost. But this is why I recommend you guys buy ammunition in bulk if you can. So you can definitely go to different websites. Oh gosh, I can't tell you the name of this website off the top of my head. But if you visit troubledefense.com and go to our references page, then you'll see there's a location that we partner with that sells firearms and ammunition. And if you live in a state that you can have ammunition mailed to your home, that might be a better bet. You'll save a little money that way to be able to buy ammunition in bulk. Like I know, or even going to a sports goods store, they sell ammunition in bigger boxes than 50 rounds. I know one of the best things I like to do is spend like $60 and I get like somewhere between 200 and 250 rounds of 9mm. And that helps, and it goes a long way to do it that way. All right, so when it comes to the, oh gosh, the bang for 45, no homo. You're exactly right. So when it comes to that ammo, buy in bulk if you can. When it comes to the targets, buy in bulk if you can. I love going to Amazon and finding different targets that I can buy and spend, $15, maybe $10 for like 50 targets. And so it does help. It's not a lot of money, when you think about it here and there, but it helps if you're going to go to the range often to go ahead and just buy things in bulk if you can. Even down to the ear protection. So even those ones that I showed you guys already. Sorry, I'm looking for my other ones here. So I grabbed ones that was inside of a bag and ones that were not. So yeah, because this one you can't really see it's inside of the bag. But I buy I buy ear protection in bulk as well, because I go through it so much. So these are one of my favorite kinds here. You don't have to worry about, like with this one, you have to put your fingers on it. And, germs is crazy, so you got to put your fingers on that. But this one, at least you don't have to put your fingers on it. And the string, put it behind your head and just insert it in your ears. So I like these. I buy these in bulk. I typically use those. If this is not enough, because maybe you're at the range with somebody shooting something really big, or maybe you have a higher caliber firearm and that may not be enough, then you can just double up. Put the ear muffs on top as well. Or some people just prefer ear muffs in general. So to each his own. Try it and see which one works for you. I would guarantee you guys feel better if you tried it, and instead of just taking my word for it, because everything that I'm telling you is based on my own experience, and each of us are different in our own little way. So go out there and try it. So let's see. Someone said, yeah, Big Dad 444, you definitely got to save some money to go to the range, right? All right, let's see. And as far as that ammo, you guys are right. That ammunition does get quite expensive. So as far as what you need to bring with you to the range, we already understand we need a gun, we need targets, we need ear protection. What I would tell you as far as carrying your firearm to and from, depending on what state you are in, and if you have a concealed carry permit in that state, you may have to lock it up to be able to transport it with you. So maybe the box that you bought the gun in, and you just put like a locker lock on top of it, or in this little hole here. So you can definitely do that to transport it. You can put this whole thing inside of a backpack or some other kind of carry bag, Doesn't really matter what type of bag you use to transport with you. And I also forgot we need eye protection too, right? But those are things that you want to bring with you to the range. Some other little nuggets to take with you. And I typically make sure I have this in my bag just in case you are there and you have to clean your gun or, add some oil to it. So I will bring me a little Ziploc bag with some oil and some Q-tips so I can be able to get into those small little crevices that I need to. I'll also bring me a cloth so I can be able to wipe it off if I need to. The last little tip I'm going to leave with you guys as far as what to bring with you that's a little bit, not something you may need, but a flashlight could be helpful, okay? So flashlight could be helpful for if you are concerned, if not, you had like a squib load and you're not really sure, and you need to look down inside the barrel without taking the gun apart. You can just rack the firearm back and then look inside of the chamber. Don't look in the muzzle, right? We're not going to point the gun to us. We're going to look inside the chamber to see if there's any ammunition inside the barrel. So that's one tool that you can use. I also have this as a reference to my bore cleaner. I'm sorry. So my bore snake, rather. So this is my bore snake. This is what I use to clean my firearm. But you see it has this long string here. So all I got to do is put that inside the chamber. And if it goes through the barrel, then I know there's nothing inside of the barrel. So that's also something that you can just carry with you to the range, just in case you have some concerns like that and you don't want to take the firearm apart to verify those things. So hopefully these little quick tips have been helpful to you guys. Let me just take a look at the chat here. Let me just see if there's any questions, anything I need to verify here with you guys. Okay, looks like, yeah, the 22 is definitely going to be your best bet going to the range to practice with. It's going to be not as expensive as buying ammunition for your 9mm and everything else. And oh, the board, oh yes, the snake, oh, I love it. Yes, it does work. It works extremely well. I wish I could show you guys right now, but I'll have to show you on the video. Maybe I'll do a cleaning video and show you guys how that works. But definitely you push this through there and you just pull it all the way through. There's an area here. Gosh, the string got a little tangled. But there's an area here you guys can see that actually will clean it really well. And when you pull it all the way through, the barrel is clean. I absolutely love it. Thanks for asking, Michael. It's my favorite. You can go to Walmart and buy this or on Amazon and buy this. So it's one of those things where you'll love it. Trust me. Once you start using this, you wouldn't want to use anything else to clean your barrel with, honestly. It's nice and soft enough so it doesn't scratch up the inside as well. So thank you guys for visiting today from New Jersey, from Maryland, from India. I appreciate it. Honestly, all the love. And Georgia, got you. Of course I got you. So when it comes to all of this, what's expected at the range, just preparation is going to be key for you to make the most out of your range experience. So it's one of those things you got to make sure that you do your part. So when you go there, that little hour of time you get goes fast, or you would have left out there not feeling accomplished if you didn't go in there with a goal. So have your mindset, what it is you want to work on, do those little drills and things that's going to help you with those specific skills. Or if you're there to just have fun and relieve stress, that's your goal. Get it done. I encourage you guys to do this often and have some fun. I really hope you guys get out there to the range very soon. Let's see. When it comes to our channel here, I am doing my best to make sure I bring you guys content that's beneficial for you guys. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, please put it in the chat box area. I'll do my best to either do an edited video or do a live conversation about it. I did just release my first gun review for the P365. Someone did request that, so I did go ahead and put that out. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Hopefully you guys like it. And I will be doing some more gun reviews. Someone did ask about the shooting simulator. Okay. Well, we do have a shooting simulator for Trouble Defense. So if you guys are in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, you can find out about our shooting simulator by visiting to troubledefense.com. And we'll get some information to you about that. It is on wheels. It's a one of a kind. It's on a trailer. We can come to your facility if you have like family events, birthday parties, bachelor's parties, or if you have a team building exercise that you'd like to do. So those are things that we do with our shooting simulator. And obviously we do training with it too, but it's lots of fun. So as far as even in your own homes, yes, even more money, even more money. So using a shooting simulator in your own home, it is a bit pricey. But the good thing about that is it's not something that you have to continuously keep spending money on. Once you buy whatever shooting simulator system for your home, then you pretty much have it. The only thing you probably have to buy is maybe batteries, or if you're using CO2, or if you're using green gas to be able to operate the guns. But in general, once you buy it, you spend, 500, 1,000, something like that. That's how much some of those shooting simulator systems cost, if not more, depending on which type you have. And then there are some that cost a little bit less. So it could be some in a lower price bracket as well. So, yeah, Dee told you about that system being 1,500, and yes, that I'm trying to tell you, it can be pricey. We have a very, I want to say, top-notch system that takes projector screen, or even a wall to project it on. The guns are like real firearms. They just shoot air instead of bullets. So the guns itself are like as much as a regular gun would cost, somewhere around the $500, $600 mark. Even the AR-15 is up like, yes, so it can be pricey nonetheless. Oh, yes, and computer. You're right. Computer. So when it comes to that, yes. So this particular shooting system that we have in our trailer is definitely top notch, not something that maybe an everyday person might put in their home. But if so, definitely it's worth the investment. I will say that. I mean, even when COVID happened, that's why we started to look into shooting simulators, because we couldn't get to the range. And it made our shooting so much just like better overall over time. It just was better. And so it's one of those things that I would encourage you guys to practice at home, even if you can. So even if you don't have a shooting simulator, but maybe you invested in one of those laser rounds, laser cartridges, that's a really good tool to have at home. And that's like 40 bucks on Amazon. So those things like that you can do. And you can even practice shooting from the holster with that. No real ammunition, pull your firearm from the holster and squeeze the trigger with that laser cartridge. Those are things you can do at home to practice, and it doesn't cost you that $60, right? But I thank you guys so much for joining today. It was just a little check-in, and I love talking to you guys. Please put in the chat box area if you have more things you want to know or learn about. I'm very happy to help you guys with that. Until then, I'm actually looking forward to seeing you guys on Friday. If you're available at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday, I'm going to be here again having a whole nother conversation with you guys, and looking forward to you guys input into what it is you're looking for and the questions you may have. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. Stay tuned for more information, and obviously definitely check out that gun review. I did that just for you guys. So please tell me what you think and go ahead and put in the comments, right? Now, one last question. Someone said, what gear do I recommend? So I don't have particular brands of gear. So I'm just going to put that out there. I'm really more so about what's comfortable for you guys. So more of the type of gear. So as I was expressing before, the ear protection, really inexpensive. This is my favorite type, actually. It's really inexpensive. You can buy this in bulk. And when it comes to that, you may like that, or you might like the earmuffs. And so obviously you would buy that once and be done with it, right? But then there's this kind too that also comes individually packed, as you can see. So I like those too for my ear protection. I also buy my my eyewear in bulk protection. Bulk purchases too. So just standard pair of safety glasses, nothing fancy. I wouldn't even worry about anything as far as brand name. So as far as the eye and ear protection, and then the targets is a piece of paper. So you can just pick whatever target you would like. Is there specific gear that you're looking for? Not your average Josie. I'm just curious if there's specific gear that you want me to pinpoint. Belt holster, that's a good question. I don't typically use a lot of belt holsters. I like to use holsters like my belly band, so it kind of takes care of both of those. So I don't really have one that I prefer right now, but I will do my best and get some more information about that for you guys, because I am looking at getting more gear like that. Competition gear, that's a good one I need to verify there. Yes, Ellie and Gary I've heard about. I've heard about them having some good gear, but I'm not familiar enough to give you guys any opinion at this point. But I'll find out about it. And speaking of competition, I do have a young lady interview that I'm working on right now, and I should have out to you guys within the next week. And she is a competition shooter, and she does make some references to a belt that she likes. So definitely stay tuned for that interview, and she'll talk about the belt that she likes for her competition shooting. So definitely stay tuned for that video. But I love it again. So I will see you guys again on Friday. So much appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Again, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys soon.